Hello Couch Co-opers, it is Couch Coop, and we're going to be looking at Figment 2, Creed Valley, available on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, and of course the Xbox, currently also residing on Game Pass. Something quite amusing is happening over on Facebook and Instagram with gaming reels at the moment. What a lot of content creators do is they put a clip up, might be like Chivalry 2 or some crazy bit from Ghost Recon that no one ever saw. The creator deliberately doesn't put what the name of the game is, so that poor people have to ask in the comments. The only interaction they get with the content are people asking what game it is, because they're like, oh, how do I, get to know more about this? It's such a low thing for someone in that position to do, and I take it upon myself to pull them all up on it. It's hilarious fun. So what do we have here then? It's a local two-player puzzler which sort of exists on an isometric playing field, and it gives me Death's Door vibes, which is a game that's out on PSN at the moment and very good, to be fair. The colour palette's almost identical, but that's a roguelike. This is a very passive adventure puzzler, and one of the characters has slightly more to do than the other one.
The sprouts are spitty around here.
The hog's bloom is corrupting everything. Don't let it hit you, buddy.
Sporting a dodge roll in a melee attack, you will feel very at home with these controls, and getting underneath the smoke and dealing damage on the poisonous ivy things that are popping up everywhere does feel quite satisfying. The game isn't going to throw in at any deep end, and the puzzles work on a switch system, so you'll be looking at different lighting textures to get various corridors or avenues open. There is a bit of fun to be had there. Whoever's controlling the parrot can actually traverse without having to use these lily pads, so the puzzles can be done a lot quicker if you've both got control of individual characters.
The right path is clear. We've got a pig to roast.
The parrot can also attack, so they can deal with enemies on an island that you haven't got to yet, and also they can scout you health. So there's one health bar, that's the main characters. Once that's over, the game's over. So it's kind of player two's job to keep you topped up, a little bit like the Child of Light system, but this is a bit more involved than that, because you are directly impacting combat, and you're even working out the puzzles ahead of time to make things easier for player one.
Watch where you're going, piglet.
That was close. Why don't nightmares ever want to talk it out?
Is the story and subject matter accessible for the whole family? That's a definite yes. This doesn't tip into nightmare fuel, skeletons and blood or anything. It's completely above the line and works very well as a sort of passive, laid-back puzzler that doesn't require too much arcade reactionary button bashing. But don't let that take away the boss fights, which are musical and do throw in some pretty crazy ideas, one of which is sort of being chased around a lamppost by a giant feral hog. This also got me thinking about a game called Sparklight, which is a roguelike, which has also got a sort of buddy system with someone that helps you with switches and delivers you health, but doesn't have a huge involvement in mainstay gameplay. That's actually well worth a look, and I probably will dig it up at some point.
Gloom clouds everywhere.
Man, the black hog really did fog up.
The voice acting is okay. The parrot, I wouldn't marry up with a voice like that, but it still keeps you awake, so to speak. And also this nightmare sort of dream aesthetic. I like the idea of the pencils getting used. A lot of the architecture is very off the wall and strange looking. It certainly has this otherworldly vibe with its look, and I love the koi carp in the water, and really how attractive it is as a smaller indie game. This is not a big size. Is there any real difficulty at all? Well, other than some trial and error, you don't really get faced with much abrasion in this opening front end. You do have to collect health from structures, and you're introduced to more than one set of moves on the combo front in the early parts of the game, which is very welcome. I thought this was just going to be slightly more two-dimensional, but I was impressed. You've got a roll and hit, and you've also got some dodges that are integral to getting past some of the bosses. You're not going to just breeze through this hitting the attack button. Its structure is quite campaign-like. It's not leaning towards any rogue-lite or rogue-like hybrids. This is purely down the middle campaign enjoyment. what about loot and outfits and changing up that weapon? There isn't any major aspects pointing in that direction. There is inventory management, so to speak, with switching out different bulbs on the lamps, and that only increases on complication going forward. Some of these puzzles are real head scratchers, and that's the game's strength, I think. Also, the musical boss fights and their dialogue to a certain extent between the two characters you're playing with and some of the enemies, everyone's interacted. So if you've got a little one, they're going to be a little bit enthralled by all this. It's quite enchanting on that level, and there's noises and amusement happening quite a lot. And that parrot system being not integral to everyday gameplay, but really boosting things if stuff starts to go wrong or if you're eager for help, is kind of a perfect entry point for someone who doesn't want to have to muck around with platforming and dodge rolling piles of smoke. But the whole entire time I'm playing this game, my mind is drifting over to wanting to play something else that this very much reminds me of, and it is of course Toe Jam and Earl. And that game existed on a 5more video, probably in 2018, something crazy like that. I will pull it out and put it under the microscope again, because it's a hell of a good game, very colourful, and also suffering a renaissance as well. It got remade, remastered on the PlayStation 4, so that I think is certainly something to pay attention to. I have of course been Couch Coop, and I am having the worst YouTube year of my career. Help me out, give me a sub, give me a like. I will of course see you all down there for some more Couch Co-op and split screen content.
Oh, ouch! Ouch!